I'm Dr. Chamonix Blanche, ex-corporate and academical, turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created Chamonix TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids hearing down under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. You're also here in Perth, are you?
Yes.
And please share with our viewers, how long have you been here for? When did you come to Australia?
We've been here for 7 years. We came through in 2013.
And why Australia?
Well, my daughter's been in Sydney for the last 20 years, so I have visited it a couple of times. I've never been to Perth. So I always, I suppose Australia is very much like South Africa. And we had been thinking about it for a long time, but I was looking after my mom, who was very elderly and in the end had dementia. So we put it off for a long time. And then John, my partner, was offered a fantastic job in Perth. And it was just an offer that we couldn't turn down. It just came at the right time, I think. So we took it not thinking that anything would happen. We just thought, we'll give it a chance and see what happens. And I think within 2 months we had our visas.
Wow, that's
so
great.
So it took us off guard a little bit.
So what does John do? What's his industry that he works in?
He's in communication. He's a communications engineer.
That's very interesting. Okay. And he was sponsored over by this company then, I assume?
Yes, on a 457 visa.
And did you use an agent, or did the company apply for the visa and do everything for you?
The company applied for the visa and did everything for us.
How exciting. And how do you find living in Australia? Are you enjoying it?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
What's the best part for you about Australia?
The feeling of being safe. Just every time I go out, like Saturday, I went to go and have my hair cut, and everybody was out with their kids on bicycles and jogging and walking with their dogs. And I appreciate it every single time I see it. To me, it's just awesome because it's something you don't see in South Africa anymore.
Yes, sadly. And is there anything that you miss of being in South Africa?
I miss the bush. I'd love to go on a safari. And I miss my brothers, and that's about it.
And your daughter, you said, is in Sydney. Do you have other children as well?
Yeah, I've got 2 sons. My one son is here with us in Perth. He came over after us. My other son is in New Zealand. We tried to get him here for 4 years, and it was just draining. Between a dodgy agent and a lot of money and a lot of heartache, we eventually settled for New Zealand. But they seem to be quite happy there.
Yes, well, New Zealand is a safe place as well, so that's great. And there's a lot of agreement between Australia and New Zealand, so it's easy enough to move between the 2 countries.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And when you came 7 years ago, how did you settle in? How did you find friends or find your spot in Perth?
I think in the beginning, the first 2 days, I think I cried a lot, obviously, because I had to leave my mom behind and my kids and my granddaughter, who was my baby. So it broke my heart. But I actually settled in pretty quickly, because in the first week I was here, John had to go up to the mine and I was on my own for the first week. So I learned my way around, going to the shops and driving around, just exploring. So I actually think I settled in pretty quickly. But I had lived in Dar es Salaam before. We had lived for 3 years in Tanzania. So coming to Australia was much easier.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So when was that you lived in Dar es Salaam? How long ago was that?
From 2002 to 2005, we were in Dar es Salaam.
And then you had about a 8-year gap, and then you came to Australia.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you could do it all over again, would you come to Australia again?
100%. Yes. Yeah, definitely. I have no desire really to go back to South Africa at all, even to visit, because the last time I was there was in 2017, and it was terribly sad. I just couldn't believe how it had deteriorated in such a short space of time, and the dirt and just the feeling of people being so stressed. It was, it was sad to see.
And you say, so all your children are out of South Africa now. Do you see your daughter often, who is in Sydney now?
I see her often, and she's moving here. In fact, they leave on Friday, and they're going to be here. They're going to be in quarantine for 2 weeks, and then they're looking for a house. So my son and my daughter will be in the same area as me. Just my one son is in New Zealand.
How amazing. So you'll all be reunited, basically.
Yeah, can't wait.
I can imagine that. And grandchildren, you mentioned one?
I have 5 now. Well, I've had my daughter's got 3 boys. They are teenagers, the 2 older ones, and she had another little one who's 2. And then my son in New Zealand has got my granddaughter and a little boy of 5.
Yeah. Oh, how lucky, to have them all with you. And how old are your children, Heather?
My daughter is 40, my son is 36, and my youngest is 29.
And do they long to go back to South Africa, or do they feel like they're Australian and Kiwis?
They're Australian. Yeah, no, they don't desire to go back to South Africa at all.
How long have they been out of South Africa?
My daughter, 20 years, because she followed her boyfriend out all that time ago. And my son came over in 2016. We managed to get him on our 457 visa, and he was already 25.
Oh, yeah.
We were given the wrong information when we first came, because he was only 21 and he could have come with us then. But they said because he was over 21, he couldn't. So when we found out, that he could have come, and also he had lost his job in South Africa, and we were basically supporting him because he was living with my other son at the time, and he couldn't get a job. And because of that, and because he hadn't turned 26 years, we put him on our visa. He came through, and we're all residents now, so.
And he's happy in Perth. Does he have a job now? Is he working, or what is he doing?
He works for the same company as my partner, John. And he's got a girlfriend, and yes, a girlfriend, her little boy, puppies. So yes, he's very settled.
Well, and you just sound like obviously, you said you're very happy here. You've got friends as well. How did you find your feet? How did you make friends?
When we moved up, because I had a few friends that are from South Africa from years ago. So, we were invited to the odd braai here and there, and we would go. And then when we moved up to Quinns Rocks, they had a South African evening down at the Mandari Marina. And we went to that, and I met a family then who had only been here for 2 weeks. And we've been like best friends ever since. They're also South African, obviously. So we just spend weekends at each other's houses, and we've done a lot together in a short space of time. So I've met through getting together and going to occasions and that we've met people. And then, of course, through John's work, we've also met people. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned he does a FIFO job. So how often is he away and how often is he at home?
No, he's not doing FIFO. He just had to go up to monitor things on the mountain. So he goes every now and then. So he's not FIFO.
Okay.
He's based at his company, and then he was a subcontractor to BHP for 3 years, and now he's back also working for BHP, but through his company. So yeah, so he works 10-hour days, so it's a long day.
Yeah. But he probably worked also very long hours in South Africa.
Yeah, no, he did. So yes, but it's worth it at the end of the day because we're much better off financially and in every way since we've been in Australia. So
and you mentioned earlier that you're building a house now?
Yes.
How exciting.
In South Africa. It's just a little house, but it's just John and I and the kids visiting occasionally, so it's all good.
Well, you don't want a big place because then you got to clean it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And tell me, in terms of food, is there any South African dishes that you miss or specific food items?
I miss the South African restaurants. You know, it's like John always says, the South African restaurants had good food, and it's very hard to find good food like that. There are restaurants. I mean, he's probably more fussy than I am, but he won't go to a restaurant where we are not served. To him, that's just, you don't go up and get a number.
Yeah, that's a very common thing here in Australia.
Yeah. So,
okay.
And I mean, we've got South African shops all over the place. I really don't miss anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And what would your regular weekend look like? What do you guys do for entertainment? You mentioned going to your friend's place, and what's a typical weekend in your family?
Besides drinking liters of wine, I would say
good. I like the wine.
We get together a lot with my son and his girlfriend. We're very close. So, they'll come over here or we go. My son met his girlfriend because she lived next door to us. So the house that we've just moved out of, it was like they were next door all the time. So we were always together. So, we'll go there or they'll come here or, we go out. My friend's daughter has a beautiful plot out in Gidgeganup. We'll go there for the weekend and spend the weekend there. Otherwise we'll just go out to a restaurant, we'll go for a walk or, gardening, spend a lot of time in the garden, try and make it look nice.
So when you moved over here originally, what did you bring did you bring a container over or did you just come with your bags?
No, we bought a shared container. So we didn't bring a lot of stuff. I bought sentimental stuff basically and things that I would need. So the first 6 months we lived in an apartment in Vic Park because John's company gave it to us rent-free. So that was great. So, we could save a little bit of money right at the beginning, which was rather nice.
Yeah. So no furniture. You didn't bring any furniture.
We bought the shared container, arrived about 6 months later. So we had to buy a bedroom suite and fridge and things like that when we moved into the house because I've got 3 dogs as well. We brought 3 dogs over with us.
Oh, okay.
So the one has passed away since, but she was very old. But I've got another one. So we've still got 3 dogs. We had to get a house, obviously, with a garden for the dogs.
And tell me a little bit about the process of bringing the dogs over. They had to stay in quarantine. For how long was that?
Oh, they were in quarantine for 8 months because it was before the new law came in.
Yeah.
Just before. So they were in quarantine for 8 months because it fell over the Christmas period where Onderstepoort is closed over Christmas. So that was the extra month that they had to stay in. And my old dog, who was already 16 when we came over, she survived beautifully. We were worried about my pug flying over because obviously the breathing problems that pugs have, but he was fine, absolutely fine. It cost us an arm and a leg. But John wouldn't have come if the dogs couldn't come. That was basically it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, 8 months. I remember. That's why I couldn't bring my dog when I came 15
Yeah,
years ago, because it was going to be like that. And
yes,
I was lucky that I could give to my dog to some people that I really knew would take care of her
yes,
well.
yes.
But yeah, these days it's like 10 days in quarantine or something.
I
So
know,
it's so much easier.
I know, I know, it really is.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
what's the hardest thing for you about being in Australia? Or is there anything that annoys you or that you would like to change?
not much. I find that sometimes they're a little bit rude. They lack manners. You know, little things like standing in a shop when you stand back and you let somebody go, a simple thank you would be nice. That's one thing I have noticed, that a lot of Australians don't say thank you.
Okay.
So I don't know if you found that. Other people have said to me they also find that. I think where we come from, we were taught very clearly to say thank you and, you know, be nice, basically. So that is a little bit annoying, but otherwise, there's not much about Australia that I don't like.
I haven't noticed it yet, but I'm just one of those people. If somebody doesn't say thank you, I'll say you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I do too. I do too.
I just and then they'll go, huh? What?
Yeah, no. But it's such a minor thing. So I can't think of anything I really dislike about it, to be quite honest. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's a lovely country.
It is. It's
Thank you.
absolutely stunning.
And it's so good to hear your story. Thank you for sharing with us on how
Okay.
you've settled in and the fact that you're enjoying it here. And I'm sure that it must be the best feeling for you to know that your kids are safe and
Oh, I
that,
sleep
yeah.
at night now because my son in New Zealand and his family were caught up in a horrific home invasion. And they put a gun to my 4-year-old granddaughter's head,
Oh,
and they were definitely going to do something to my daughter-in-law, but they were interrupted. So there was a gunfight, a little bit, bullets flying, and so they were terribly, terribly traumatized, and as I was. So I didn't sleep for a few years. And now I'm at peace because my kids are out, and I think that was the final straw for us.
yes. Oh, wow. And you know, the sad thing is people say they're lucky they got away or not got away, you know, but did it
Yeah, that they
nothing,
survived.
yeah, that they survived. And
Yeah,
I always think, well, that shouldn't have happened to them in the first
exactly,
instance.
exactly. It should never have happened, ever, because it's definitely scarred my granddaughter without it.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
But I'm glad that you can sleep safe and sound now.
yes.
And again, thank you for sharing your story. There will be people watching this and going, if Heather could do it, and you know,
And
if
I
she's
am.
happy.
Because
What
we
is
came
your age?
over 50. We came in, oh geez, I'm 62 now, so 7 years. We came in when I was 55, and we had to wait 6 years to get our residency because we had to wait 4 years before we could apply, and then the whole sort of process took so long, and there was always that worry: what if we don't get it and we can't go back? There's nothing to go back to. So, in December, our permanent residence came through, and oh my, it was just such a relief.
Oh,
So
it is, yes. And then
yes,
and then you decided to build a house, I assume.
yes. After that, John said, "Okay, now we can start looking at building a house."
Oh, lovely. Yes. Now you can put your roots in firmly,
Yes,
cemented into the Australian soil.
right. Yep.
Thanks, Heather. I really
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right.
You
Thank
you
you.
must have a lovely sunny winter's day or sunny spring day because it's not
Yes,
winter anymore, and it's such a beautiful
it,
day over
it
in
is
Perth.
beautiful. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Have a lovely day. We'll talk again
Okay.
soon.
All right. Lovely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Goodbye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.